Thank you. Actually, I feel very fortunate to be here tonight. Actually, Charlie, about a month ago, gave me a call, and he kind of had a little interview on his mind. First thing on his agenda was, hey, have you ever heard of TED? And I'm like, of course I heard of TED. It's a movie about a teddy bear, Marky Wahlberg. They do, something with Mind Void. He goes, no. I go, yeah. Terry Lynn, Jenny Lynn, Betty Lynn. I know the movie well. He goes, no, TEDx. It's about bringing people out to talk about big ideas. That got me confused. I really didn't know why he was talking to me, but he said, we want to talk to you about public art. So this continued our interview process for the most part. And the next thing out of Charlie's mouth was, how did you get started? So about 15 years ago, I had been working towards building my own studio, and I was waiting around to be discovered, and it wasn't happening. So a friend of mine was the mayor at the time of a small town that I'm from, and I duped her into starting the Mayor's Commission on Art in Public Places. And she didn't really know what that was, but she said, yeah, sounds good, let's do it. And so I was able to set up a show in our town of 28 regional artists that worked in large-scale sculpture, and nobody was really prepared for what was going to come next. I had to go through 45 different committee meetings just to make sure that everybody at the city understood, hey, we're bringing public art. It's coming. But the day I installed the first sculpture, the mayor was coming out of a meeting. It was right in front of City Hall. It was about a 30-foot sculpture, and she looked up and she said, I didn't think it was going to be this big. And that was just the start. The newspaper picked up on it right away, and some of the best things I've ever heard in my life were the letters to the editor. It was so beautiful. It started out with, pure hatred, really. Everybody, in fact, the editor from the paper even said, it's unanimous, you hate it. That was the title of his page for pretty much over a year. And I'm like, this is great. This is really cool. This is working well. Well, so Charlie went on to ask me a few more questions, and he said, hey, I noticed that you do a lot with kids' art programming. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I feel that it's a privilege to bring public art to a community because you're essentially forcing people to look at it 24/7. At least that's how I look at it. But so every chance I get, I try and include service groups and get those kids involved. Pretty much anybody who will listen to me talk about public art, I will come and talk to them. But kids especially seem to be held hostage more than often. And so I worked with Boys and Girls Club, TEDxDetroit, Kids on the Go. In fact, this last summer, I was the artist in residence right across the street at the Bowl Family YMCA. So you might have read about the hostage crisis there. I had them for about a month and a half, and we had a great time. One of the things about teaching kids, though, is that we take them from concept to finished product. We have kids actually take a mock-up of a sculpture and then reinterpret it on their own. And the whole idea behind that is that these kids actually get to create a dialogue with the public art. They create a conversation, and most importantly, we listen to them. And when you listen to kids, it's amazing what happens. I get more out of working with kids and talking about public art than anything else. It is unbelievable. Well, Charlie, while we're still having our conversation, and he's still evaluating whether I'm worthy of being on the stage, and I don't blame him one bit for second-guessing anything I do, but he says to me, well, have you ever seen where you've made a difference with some of these projects? And I said, yeah. And I hadn't thought of it for a long time, but about 10 years ago, I was working with the Boys and Girls Club of South Oakland County. And there was 2 women there that were just unbelievable. They were a big part of how I set up the kids' education program. And it was Sarah and Shannon. And so we had been working for 7 months on introducing public art, talking about what it is to be a member of a community, about what it means to have your artwork out there, to set up skill building, goal setting. You know, the idea wasn't to create kids that were artists. It was kids that could think creatively on their own, and they could see a project from start to finish and feel a sense of accomplishment with that. So I had the best time with this group, and I took them on a little field trip. And some of the class counselors were on the field trip with me as well. And these kids, after spending about 7 months with them, it was a whole winter that we had created our own work, and we had shown that work at Clay and Glass in downtown Royal Oak, and we also showed it for the 20th anniversary of the Heidelberg Project. So these kids were seasoned. They were artists, and they felt a sense of ownership with this sculpture exhibit that I took them on a tour for. And it was really interesting to see these kids, and they were coming from kind of the Royal Oak community out to Brighton. So they didn't know anybody in town, but they took ownership and they started giving tours. These were unofficial tours, but they were official because these kids knew more and knew more of the language just from thinking on their own and having the ability to really take a part and feel like they're a part of this public art project. Well, one of the things that happened on the way home, because these kids felt so comfortable, one of the girls actually shared with the counselor, Sarah, who's a very good friend of mine, and said that she was being abused at home by her stepfather and stepbrother. And because we created this environment where she felt safe enough, she'd been in the program all year, but it was on that trip home that she decided to uncover what was going on. Immediately, Sarah and the staff of the Boys and Girls Club got her to a safe place, took care of her, got her out of the home, made sure everything was taken care of, well documented, all the things that you're supposed to do when you're a well-trained person from the Boys and Girls Club. So essentially, because of that, a life was saved. And one of the things that Charlie was asking me was, that's a great story. Can you get Sarah to come with you? And Sarah's here with me today. I did not tell her I was going to tell this story, but I duped her into carrying my stuff in the back, and she's beautiful. I love her. Sarah, come on out here. Sarah is amazing. So I've got her on show. I can't help it. I think of her often, and I love her.
Say something? Well, thank you. I'd like to tell John, thank you so much. This project that I was involved in 10 years ago has been a gateway to some amazing connections in the city, meeting amazing people, working with amazing organizations in the city, and it's just a very, very beautiful thing to be able to stand here today and hear this beautiful story about how this has kind of transforms people and the city. So I have an English degree, so I'm a big fan of narrative, and this has been a really beautiful narrative to the city. So I thank John for letting me be a part of it.
Thank you.